I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. In a recent speech, Donald Trump said that he believes he ran against Barack Obama in 2016 and 2024. Donald Trump said that President Biden will lead us into World War II. Donald Trump said that you need voter ID in order to buy a loaf of bread these days. Donald Trump bragged about his mugshot being the highest selling T-shirt. Donald Trump said that Jack Smith's real name isn't Jack Smith. On overturning Roe v. Wade, Donald Trump said, quote, "We gave people representing us incredible power to do something, maybe me." Donald Trump also said that he believes his role is to protect you from demonic forces, and Donald Trump was just getting started. Yes, Donald Trump said this in two separate speeches in Washington, D.C. One speech he spoke before a group called the Women's Leadership Summit. Donald Trump was the headliner. That's Donald Trump, who brags about sexually assaulting women, who was found liable by a jury of sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll, which was confirmed by the federal judge. Yes, Donald Trump was headlining that summit. Also, Donald Trump spoke at the Pray, Vote, Stand Summit. I'm going to show you the lowlights of these speeches where he said the things that I just said he said, just so you can believe me that that's actually what went down. Here's how the New York Times reported it. Trump and DeSantis collide as they court social conservatives. Yeah, I think I would go with the headline that this was some of the most deranged and disqualifying things imaginable. But I also will talk about at the end of this video how large media and legacy media is just amplifying Donald Trump's fascism, promoting it, and why we also need to call out large legacy media. But first, let me show you where Donald Trump believes he ran against President Barack Obama in 2016, or he's running against Obama right now. Watch Donald Trump short circuit. Play the clip.
As you know, crooked Joe Biden and the radical left thugs who have weaponized law enforcement to arrest their leading political opponent. They're leading by a lot, including Obama. I'll tell you what, you take a look at Obama and take a look at some of the things that he's done. This is the same thing. The country was very divided. And we did with Obama. We won an election that everyone said couldn't be won. We beat Hillary Clinton. Now, you know, I used to call her Crooked Hillary.
Yeah, and I know how all the legacy media wants to attack President Biden, who's actually leading a NATO coalition against Vladimir Putin. President Biden, who is his leadership has been demonstrated to be effective in passing major legislation. But watch what Donald Trump does here. Donald Trump says the real issue with President Biden is that Biden is leading us into World War II. Yes, Donald Trump believes that Biden will lead us into World War II. Play the clip.
We have a man who is totally corrupt and the worst president in the history of our country, who is cognitively impaired, in no condition to lead, and is now in charge of dealing with Russia and possible nuclear war. Just think of it. We would be in World War II very quickly if we're going to be relying on this man, and far more devastating than any war. There will never be a war. If that happens, there will never be a war like this. It will obliterate everything there is, everybody. It will obliterate every country.
Yep, not a peep from the media about these incidents. Instead, they want to focus on President Biden just being old and just downright engage in ageism, despite the fact that, I mean, just focus on President Biden's accomplishments, and also just completely inappropriate. Here is Donald Trump believing that you need a photo ID if you want to buy a loaf of bread these days. Play the clip.
They're bad at policy. They have no idea what they're doing. They have open borders. They have no voter ID. They don't want voter ID. I saw on the television one of these characters. There shouldn't be voter ID. Now, you have voter ID to buy a loaf of bread. You have ID to buy a loaf of bread. You have everything. You have pictures. When they had their Democrat National Convention, they had a picture of the biggest thing I've ever seen. They had fingerprints. They had everything you could possibly know about that person. That was to get into their room with thousands of people It was like a billboard. It was actually very much like my mugshot, if you want to know the truth. Thinking about it just right now. Big.
Here's Donald Trump bragging that his mugshot is the highest selling T-shirt. That's something that he needs to tell the Women Leadership Summit and the Pray Vote Stand Summit. Yeah, my T-shirts, everybody, my T-shirts.
I wouldn't be going through any trials and tribulations. I wouldn't have had the mugshot. I wouldn't have dated it. That shot has been something, hasn't it? They have sold more T-shirts than any T-shirt ever in history. They're all over the place. I see pictures of people that are walking the streets of New York. Even, I must say, some of the illegal immigrants that came in, they've got my mugshot on. That thing, I don't know how they make these things so quickly, but they do.
Then Donald Trump whines and says that Special Counsel Jack Smith is trying to take away his First Amendment right to threaten witnesses and prosecutors and the judge. All Special Counsel Jack Smith said in a limited gag order is, can Donald Trump stop threatening the community, the judge, prosecutors, because it's actually causing real consequences. Real death threats are taking place as a result of what Donald Trump is doing, and it's creating a situation where it's going to be difficult to find an impartial jury by him engaging in this conduct. No criminal defendant can do what he's doing, so let's have him stop threatening. He can say what he wants to say, just no threats directed at the judiciary, directed at prosecutors. But Donald Trump whines and says, oh, I don't even think Jack Smith's name is Jack Smith. Here, play the clip.
As an example today, we had this prosecutor, deranged Jack Smith. Has anyone ever heard? I wonder what his name used to be. Jack Smith sounds so nice, doesn't it? He's a deranged individual, and he wants to take away my First Amendment rights. They went to court to get an order that I can't speak. Now, you got to understand, I'm the leading candidate by 50 points, and I'm leading Biden by a lot. And they want to see if they can silence me. So the media, the fake news, will ask me a question. I'm sorry, I won't be able to answer that. How do you think we do in that election? So we're going to have a little bit of a fun with that, I think, because that's a tough one.
So going back to that New York headline, I guess social conservatives, this is the issues that matter to them, huh? Social conservatives, they really care about buying loaves of bread with voter ID and how Donald Trump's mugshot T-shirt is selling really well. Yeah, good for that. And how Jack Smith's name may not be Jack Smith, according to Donald Trump, trying to engage in an anti-Semitic dog whistle. When you wonder why Donald Trump's saying that, he's implying that Jack Smith's name is a Jewish last name and he changed his name to Jack Smith. That's why Donald Trump says that. Here, Donald Trump talks about overturning Roe v. Wade, and Donald Trump, the way he messages this, he says, we gave people, well, I'll just let you watch it, play the clip.
Gave people representing us an incredible power to do something that's really a fantastic thing if we can do this, and we're going to get it done, and you all know what I mean.
He's just basically making sounds at this point. I don't even know what that is. Here, Donald Trump says that he believes his role is he's protecting everybody in the audience from demonic forces. Play the clip.
But I wanted to and had to stand up to the communists, the Marxists, the atheists, and the evil and demonic forces that want to destroy our country. They're destroying our country. I took their fire and I did it gladly. I'm protecting the people in this room. I'm protecting the people of this nation. And I have to tell you, it's not easy, but it's something that's such an honor to be doing.
Here, Donald Trump says that if he is elected, he will go after people without any evidence. If there is someone running against him, he says he will just tell his attorney general to go after his political opponents, because he compares that to the fact that he's being held accountable for trying to overturn our democracy, making hush money payments to a porn star and covering it up by claiming it was legal expenses, by trying to extort a Republican Secretary of State, by making fraudulent valuations of his property. And he thinks that situation's similar to, he says that he will direct an attorney general just to go after whoever. Play this clip.
So we're going to have a little bit of a fun with that, I think, because that's a tough one. Can you imagine? So we have somebody weaponizing. We have this incompetent president put somebody in to essentially rig the election just like they did before. And what this does, it sets a tremendously bad precedent, because you look at what's happened with this. Now, if I win, and let's say somebody comes along on the Democrat side and they're looking very strong, I can call my attorney general, I guess. Am I allowed to call him and say, you have to indict him on something, just find anything. You can indict him for anything you want, just indict him. And then for the most part, when you get indicted, you know what you do? Ladies and gentlemen, I have decided to leave office immediately, et cetera, et cetera. I will be spending more time with my family. Do you ever hear that speech like hundreds of times? I'm the only one that ever got indicted where my poll numbers went through the roof. What the hell is going on?
Here Donald Trump again goes after special counsel Jack Smith. Play the clip.
Because in a true sense, I'm being indicted for you. Thanks a lot, everybody. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And did you see today that deranged Jack Smith, he's the prosecutor, he's a deranged person, wants to take away my rights under the First Amendment, wants to take away my right of speaking freely and openly. Never forget, our enemies want to stop us because we are the only ones that can stop them. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. I'm standing here.
In this clip, Donald Trump continues to celebrate his role in overturning Roe v. Wade. Play the clip.
None of them went, none of them, but I went, and it was a beautiful day. 1 year ago, in a victory that conservatives had been seeking for 50 years. 50 years they've been fighting for this. Those same Supreme Court justices and the Supreme Court ruled to end the moral and constitutional atrocity known as Roe v. Wade. Very important. Nobody thought that could be done. And so important, and it's not discussed right, it's not talked about right. To be honest, Republicans don't know how to discuss the subject, but they're the radicals, not us. The Democrats are the radicals. So now pro-lifers have a tremendous power to negotiate. You had no power whatsoever. There wasn't a thing you could do. But now you have tremendous power to negotiate, which they didn't have before the ruling. This moves the issue back to the states. Everybody wanted it to go back to the states. All legal scholars on both sides, they wanted it back to the states.
And this is the lie that MAGA Republicans tell over and over again, because they're incredibly disingenuous as they're taking away women's freedom over their reproductive rights, what the MAGA Republicans say, and I guess they just think everybody's stupid. You know, I guess because their base believes everything, they just think they can just say anything and just, you know, the media will write about it. So Donald Trump says that Democrats support abortion after birth or right before birth, which is not only incredibly false, but is also incredibly demeaning to the intelligence of women who this is the hardest decision that they have to make. And for them to, MAGA Republicans, to treat this issue like, oh, it's just everybody's supporting abortions. What are you talking about? Again, this is about reproductive health. This is about a woman's right to control her body. And there are life and death decisions that need to be made with doctors that are the hardest decisions that people make. And it's all a game to MAGA Republicans. It's all a game to them. And their policies have resulted in horrific things happening right now to women across the country who need reproductive care. But just play this clip.
Right up until the moment of birth. And again, in some cases, you have after birth. It's just murder. After birth. And you have, in some cases, legislation. If you remember the former governor of Virginia, he got up, Michael Jackson, remember his wife said he was going to do, he got into a lot of trouble, and he was going to imitate Michael Jackson moonwalking, and his wife said, no, don't do it. And she saved him a great embarrassment.
Okay, so what do you think the NBC headline is? Here's the headline from NBC. Trump wants to bring the country together on abortion. Both sides are going to like me, Donald Trump said. The former president who nominated 3 conservative Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade wouldn't say whether he prefers bans at the state or federal level. He's the reason that Roe v. Wade is overturned. We all hear what he is saying. Really? Your headline, NBC, is that he wants to bring the country together on abortion. By the way, NBC, of course, is promoting their Meet the Press interview with Kristen Welker, who did a softball interview with Donald Trump. And after Chuck Todd left, everybody said, okay, great, maybe Meet the Press is going to, focus on reporting on the news and doing a good job. Nope. Kristen Welker seems worse than Chuck Todd. And again, this is not unique to NBC. There is a concerted effort that's been going on, but especially recently, I'm sure you've seen our coverage here of all media just completely pushing fascism. They want the both sides race. They want to uplift Donald Trump. The media companies have made the calculation, news companies, that this is good for their bottom line. And this is what they want to push. And they want to gaslight us and lie to us. Here, I just took a screenshot. I Googled Trump before doing this video. And I just took photos of all of the media stories. And so this is what it says. News about Joe Biden, Donald Trump. This is from The Hill. Trump on message he left for Biden after leaving the White House. It was a nice note. New York Times. Biden administration aims to Trump-proof the federal workforce. What do you mean Trump-proof the federal workforce? Are you trying to say that Donald Trump is trying to overthrow our democracy and President Biden's trying to uphold our democracy? I guess that's Trump-proof. We have to be cute with our headlines. Cowardly New York Times right there. Here's what Fox News says, and you expect Fox News to push these narratives. More people think Trump has mental soundness than Biden. Well, with headlines like the ones that we see before, what do you think's going to happen? Axios. Trump claims genetic edge if reelected in 2024. Like, what the hell does that even mean? The Hill goes, anti-Trump movement frets about void left by Romney retirement. I mean, do they pick the stupidest headlines imaginable? Like, is that their goal? Like, let's pick the dumbest freaking headline. Anti-Trump movement frets about void left by Romney retirement. Do you mean that Republicans and actual conservatives and independents, or people not affiliated with political parties, and others, people who support our democracy, also progressive and liberals, do you mean that people who care about democracy are worried that MAGA Republicans have fully taken over the Republican Party now, and what we actually want as a pro-democracy coalition is, even if we disagree with people like Senator Mitt Romney, he's someone who has integrity. But no, everyone's fretting. We're fretting. Anti-Trump movement frets, and it's an anti-Trump movement. No, it's a pro-democracy movement. It's for the United States Constitution. Here's the other one, NBC News. What makes Trump's lead different from past primary frontrunners? Here's Politico. Trump blasts special counsel Jack Smith for seeking gag order. These titles are the worst. But anyway, look, folks, we're going to keep calling it out here on the MeidasTouch network. If you want to support the growth of this network, help us get bigger than those other networks, here's what you got to do. Go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. You spell it MEIDASTOUCH, and hit subscribe on our YouTube channel, and have a great day.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.